Oh, hold up. Hold up. Hey, I think we're on now. Welcome, guys. So sorry for the delay. I had some network problems, but we are so back. We are back again for just another check-in Project Feline stream. Same as last week. Hello. Good to see you. How have you all been? How do I pronounce that? Voldov. Sounds like a Harry Potter type name. This is the first Project Feline stream you've caught. Whoa. Let's hope it won't be the last. By the way, I took some of your suggestions from last week, and I've got, I hope it works, I haven't tested it, but I've got TTS implemented now. New feature, launched on stream, TTS. So, I have no idea what the voice sounds like. I have no idea if the... if like there's a filter on it or something. I got no clue. So if any of you guys want to try that out, you can shout some bits or whatever you do with, I don't know, whatever the thing you do. I think it triggers at, I think it's like $5 super chat or something, or 500 bits or something like that. So I have no idea if it works. It makes noise, I'm pretty sure. You guys can be my beta testers on that. You'll make me eat those words. Oh, well, yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. But in the meantime, I got some cool stuff to show you. So I've been doing some more cooking. So what I'm gonna do with these, because for those that have been around for my streams earlier in the year, I would kind of just work for 4 straight hours, and we're trying something different this time around. So I'm just gonna go over some stuff I've been cooking. I'm not gonna be like probably doing, I'm just going to be showing. It's like a show and tell, okay? It's like, or as the industry people call it, it's like a weekly stand-up. But that lame sounds so, it's so lame. I hate that naming. But think of it as like a weekly stand-up where I'm just showing you stuff. So, yeah. So I'll show you what I've been cooking here. So this is a main menu concept at the moment. And I wanted to show you this first because this springboards into a few different topics of stuff I've been looking into. So this menu is all just in Unreal. I've got a new background, and I've tried to make it look more consistent with the branding on the Steam page and on the YouTube channel and everything. And I've rethemed some of the buttons and stuff as well. I'm still not quite happy with it. It's like, I don't know, there's something I'm probably not getting right with the buttons. There's something I don't like, but I've tried to do like nice curved edges and drop shadows on them to give it that sort of 2000s user interface feeling. And I've changed up some of the fonts. I've got the new logo in it as well. And when you click on all the actual menu bits, I need to like fix these up because I freaking hate how these are built. But all of the actual menus are the same. They've just been reskinned. So the prototype build is basically, it's got the same system, like the settings menu's still the same, but it's just sort of getting an idea of the theming and like how I want that to sort of look. And some of you might remember from the last devlog I did, there was a 3D main menu concept, and you're probably wondering why I have scrapped that, and there's a few reasons why. So I don't know if I can get the video up real quick to show you what I mean for those that haven't seen it. But there was previously actually, it might still be here in the game files, or not. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm still quarantining things off because there's just so much, there's still a lot of unwashed bowls left behind, so to speak. But if I'll show you the video because I've got clear footage of it there. Where's my latest video? So it was around here. So this is the one I showed in the video, right? Now, you might look at, here's the thing, right? You might look at it. This is what I had the contractor do. And I'm not trying to like slight them personally. This is just an artistic critique sort of thing here. Now, I didn't notice at the time, but it turns out there is a lot of ways to mess up something like a main menu scene or a composition, because that's kind of what it's supposed to be. The idea is when you boot up the game is that you're going to have this nice composition of Gabi with this train. And you see here I've got the concept, and the concept the original thing of it was that if you look at how it's been drawn, you see that the buildings in the background are not very detailed. They're very austere, there's like this layer of fog. You can see this gradient where it goes to very foggy to very dark to create this sort of atmospheric occlusion. And then there's a layer of grass that's very sparse and not very detailed. And then in the foreground, that's where you've got all the detail. And you've got this almost frame where the boxcar itself is framing everything. Like if there's a border, you've got borders on the sides, and then on the floor, you've got this dark area. And your focus is kind of on the characters because they're contrasting with the background, right? If you look at the background, it's very bright, whereas the character silhouettes are very dark. And they're mostly in shadow. And that was the original thing that I wanted. But what I ended up getting later was this, wherever it was. And the thing is that's tricky to point out, because you don't notice this straight away, is that it looks really detailed and like dazzling at first. But if you start looking at it with a more critical eye, you start noticing that by the way, because I have my chat on these other tabs here. So if there's people leaving messages or something, I'm gonna see them in a few minutes, after I close this tab. So anyway, but if you look at this here, you'll notice that the focus is not on Gabi. You're looking everywhere else because everything is so detailed, which isn't what the concept had. So the environment, there's so much clutter and greebles and detail. The buildings are very detailed. Everything's very detailed, and it's almost an overwhelming amount of detail. Now, that might not sound bad, right? Because most people, when they think detail, they think, oh, detail's good, but not always. You got to use detail carefully. You can't just chuck detail everywhere. That's sort of why AI art looks the way it does. It doesn't look like a human made it because everything is so detailed. But a true master is going to know what to put in detail and what isn't going to be in detail. So you'll even notice, this is very, very hard to notice immediately, but you pick up on it subconsciously. You can even see on this wall, there's this repeating texture, and it's like super, super tiled. And then the floor is not dark enough. And there's all these it's all these little things that kind of add up to make the composition feel different than what it was supposed to be. So I didn't know to pick up on this at the time. I just looked at it and went, oh, wow, it's so detailed. It's amazing, right? I fell for it as well. But if you look at it with a critical eye, you start to see that the composition, like the brightest part of this frame is not, it's right behind Gabi. There's this random bright patch of grass because the grass has specular on it. And my eye is going there. It's not going to the foreground. It's going all in the background, and it's meant to be a menu. You're not really meant to be paying attention to that stuff. And again, it seems minor, but it all adds up to the experience for the player. And the other disadvantage is that because there was so much geometry, the main menu needed a loading screen, which is, I feel like if we're getting to the point where a main menu needs a loading screen, then there's a problem. Like, you're not meant to be spending a lot of time on the main menu. You're supposed to be playing. So that's kind of where I started. I try to just go again from scratch and do my own version. So this is still a work in progress, of course. It needs refining, but I'm trying to lean more into this simple menu that is not very high tech, that it doesn't have all these 3D models everywhere, but has like a lot of character and what do you call it? It's a lot of charm. And I was inspired. I don't know if I still have the video clip, but I was inspired to do it like this based on this. There's a funny story behind how I chose this layout. There's a funny story for it. When I was at the beginning of the year, I got sick with COVID, and the prior week, I had been out to some used DVD shop, and I don't know if I can find the clip of what this sounds like a long-winded story, but it's cool. Okay, so I've talked about this show on stream because like the week before I had found this random anime at a used DVD store, and I literally, the box art was so cool that it made me want to buy it. And I pay attention to stuff like that. And the anime in question was this. It's called Elemental Gelad or something like that. I don't have I had a video I filmed on my CRT because I have a CRT television in the background there, and that's what I was watching it on. And I boot up, it's this anime, and I picked it up from the store because the box art was awesome, and the branding of it and the styling is just really cool, right? But I put in the disc on my CRT and I play it, and the main menu for the DVD was so cool, man. It had like, it was very similar to what I'm trying to do here, where it had the logo in the middle, and then it had this cool Adobe After Effects transition, and then they had the render of the character on the left like this, but it animated in, and then they had all the DVD options here. So it's a similar layout to what I've tried to do, but their version was way cooler, and it had this really sick music. It was like this 2005 J-rock music. It was so cool, man. It was awesome. So I'm like, okay. It was so cool that I had to film it. I don't know where I put the footage, though. I don't think it's in my devlog folder. But it was so cool that I thought, you know, if they're able to impress me and get me that hyped with a PNG and like just 2 PNGs of like the background and the character, if they could do that, then hell, I don't need all this extra. I don't need a whole 3D procedurally generated. Like, I don't need any of that, because I didn't get that same, like, there's no lasting impression. It was just spectacle and oh, it's cool and detailed, but there was no soul. But like the kind of layout that this anime had with their DVD, I don't know if there's like a thing where it has like the DVD menu, but it was so freaking cool, man. But this was the box art. I don't know if there's any footage online that I can quickly get of the DVD opening, but it had this render of the character sort of slide in on the left, and I just thought, oh my god, it's cool. Okay, like I think it looks really awesome. It's got this really confident pose. The shading and lighting is freaking, it's cool. Okay, so that's why I've tried to do the same here with Gabi. I've got her in a very intense, serious pose. So this is a screenshot of the model, which is why it looks a little rough around the edges. So the idea is, I want to experiment a little with what pose I want. This is just something I tried out, but once I've landed on something, I'd like go in with Clip Studio and clean up the line work. Like, you can tell it's a low-res screenshot just from Blender, because you can see all the pixelation and stuff. I haven't like rendered this out properly, but it's just a mock-up of like what I think I want. So that was the menu, and there's a bit more to it as well, because I've got all the styling and stuff that I love, but there's also a bit more to it. It fits the aesthetic of the game well. Thank you so much. Yeah, because that's the thing, is that you can have something that's technically more advanced and more detailed, but it doesn't mean it matches, right? You know, it doesn't always mean it's gonna fit just because it's more advanced. And that's the kind of mindset I'm taking with everything now, where it's like, is there a more austere way or a simpler way to communicate something cool? And I like that as a thing, because it means you could get away with doing less work. And that's not a laziness thing, okay? Shut up. Don't laugh. It's not laziness. It's just being smart, okay? You gotta work smart. You know, as much as it'd be cool, like, I would love to try and do like a full city or something, but that's like, do you need to do all that to leave an impression? And if it's if you can't, then it's like, well, maybe it's like you just need to be a better designer and do more with less. That's sort of the attitude I'm taking. I think the menu needs animate. Yeah, absolutely. So with Unreal's menu system, here's the thing that I'm caught on with this, is that I hate UMG, which is Unreal's widget menu system that they use for all this. So I've got like a, I don't know if I've got the menu, because here's where I miss. I didn't get to have this era of game dev. I joined too late. But I don't know if you guys know about this thing called Autodesk Scaleform, but it used to be used in like every game, like, of all time. Every single game I played growing up used Scaleform. Hold on, let me just move my Twitch chat so I can see you guys talking. There, that's better. But I don't know, Scaleform was really cool, and I don't know enough about it, but I know that it was really advanced and you could do a lot with it. Like the freaking Crysis 3 menu, I don't know if you guys have seen that, But the Crysis 3 menu is like, to me, the pinnacle of like UI design. This stuff looks awesome. And it's like got this cool parallax 3D effects and everything. Oh, this is literally just the start screen. But some of you that have played this, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like this. It's a really cool sci-fi aesthetic, and it's really it looks well made. The UI, not even the game. I'm not even looking at the game. It's just how well made it is. Oh wait, is that the TTS? Did someone TTS? Oh, okay. Sorry, it was so quiet I didn't hear it. I'm gonna have to adjust the volume.
The new animations for Gabi look sick, as well as the title screen so clean.
Oh, thank you. I just got the last bit of your message there. Where was that? Sorry, I'm still working out the dashboard here. This is how you know I'm not professional enough streamer yet. But thanks so much. Oh, that was in the Twitch chat. Let me read that again, because I could barely hear it. Let me turn up my volume. I could barely hear that. Nice chat, see you all. Hope you have a good day. Thank you. The new animations. Yeah. So I saw that part of the message. Thanks so much, Real FD. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, clean. I like that word. I like when people call something clean. That's what I like personally. Let me just check real quick if there's a way to turn up the volume on this TTS, because I don't know, was it loud enough for you guys? I could barely hear it. I don't know if it's just my volume set too low. Let me know if you guys could hear that. Thanks for being the first guinea pig for the TTS, Real FD. I appreciate it. You're a real one. I just got to try and find the volume. I want to turn that up. I want you guys to have a loud voice. You know, it'd be really cool if I could make that like the Steve Downs Master Chief voice. That'd be cool. But I don't know if it's going to let me do that. Alert box, that's it. Okay, I've turned it up a bit. I think it's going to turn up all the sound effects, but I think I'd rather have it too loud than too quiet. Check the 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim menus. Ooh, that title sounds freaking cool. The word Aegis is such a cool word. I don't know if it's just me, but that just when you see it spelled out. I have no idea what this is, but this word Aegis is just such a cool. The way it looks when you write the word out, it looks sick. If you put this in like a cool Y2K font, it'll look even cooler. So, menu. You want me to look at the menus? Intro and menu. Let's have a look. All right, let's do some market research, guys. Let's do some UX research. Let's have a look. Whoa. So is this like the opening cutscene? Oh, I can tell they put in so much effort. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. So that looks like the title screen. Oh, I see what you mean. It is kind of austere in the sense that it's just sprite work. But these guys have gone all out, man. This is so cool. Because that hair animation, it's probably like 4 frames that they're just cycling. Whoa. Okay, dude. This is cool. This is cool, man. See, I don't know how to do this in UMG. This is what I was about to start to get into. Is that UMG... I have no clue how you would make this with Unreal's UMG. This looks like it was made with some much better UI middleware. To have all the like this sort of radial menu thing, I've wanted to do something like this for so long, but I have no idea how to do it. But that is... Dude, that's a great recommendation. Thanks for sharing that. This is awesome. Let me just... Sorry, my chat window... I have like 2 or 3 windows on my side, and the chat window is so tiny. And I've lost one of you. Oh, okay, Twitch is there. Hold on, let me move you guys down. Sorry. I gotta get better at my window management. Parallax-driven development. Yeah. The music is not loud until you press the button. Righto. Yeah, but this is all like 2D sprite work, which is pretty cool. But it looks... But the reason why this... And again, I'm not trying to bash the contractor here. This is not personal. This is just on a technical level here. The reason why this looks better than the 3D menu that we tried doing was because you see the composition is been thought of. Like, they have deliberately got it so that the background is really light so that the characters stand out. And the composition is laid out in such a way where you've got a bunch of negative space on this side and this side of this dude, so that you look at him first, and then you have this soft silhouette in the background, and you start looking at the background, and it's like, whoa, what is this big guy? And then your eyes start to then look around to the rest where you've got all these cast members. But that is not an accident. Like, they have done the composition like this deliberately so that your eye is clearly, they're guiding your eye. And it's not necessarily that your eye is drawn to one thing only. It's more that you're drawn to things in a certain order, where you look at this first, and then that first, and then this. But if you have someone that doesn't know this, and they think that just adding more detail is the solution to everything, they're not going to know this. And they're going to make something where your eye gets lost. Like, you could easily mess something like this up if you made the character in the back, like this big Colossus thing, and the background, if you made that darker, it would ruin the entire composition. Because if you made it darker and you added more detail to the background buildings, your eye would get completely... You wouldn't look at the foreground, you get completely lost in the background. And that's not what you want in this case. You want people looking at the sick renders of the character there. So even there, like, you can see that they've thought about this. That this is all on purpose. They've placed all these people here deliberately. And it doesn't... And this is like what happens when you've got really high fidelity art and good direction combined. That's where you get something cool. That's where you get something that's cool enough that you would recommend it to somebody and say, you should check this out, like you've just done. And that's the level... I feel like that's kind of where I want to be aiming. I want to make it like it's cool enough that people will go, oh, you should check out Project Feline's menus. Which is like, I think that's the highest badge of honor of all time. That'd be sick. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. I gotta manage my tabs so way better. Let me just dock that over here for the moment, and I'll bring back Unreal because I got more to show you. Because as I was saying with UMG, I just hate it. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like it's fighting me at all points. So I've got a few things here where I've tried to like lay out these buttons, and then I've tried to position the logo and stuff, and I've tried to just meticulously do this. But then it becomes a whole different game when you start scaling, when you're running the game at different resolutions. Because now if I try to run it at like a 4:3 aspect ratio, the logo gets completely cropped. So there's a bunch of considerations there to consider. And there's also when you're doing things like animations, I don't know what it is, but I've tried doing animations in UMG and they will work in Engine. And then when I take it to export the game, the animations don't play. So there's a bunch of stuff like that I haven't figured out yet. But what I really think is cool is the stuff like Autodesk Scaleform. Because here you can only really do buttons and text. You can't do... like those drop shadows on the buttons, that I had to manually do that. Like that's actually part of the sprite itself. That isn't me adding a drop shadow to the object. That's literally part of the object. And it's like, it's little quality of life things like that that make working with UMG a bit frustrating. Like what I'd love to do is have text with more styling on it so that you can have an outline or a gradient or a drop shadow. But you can't do that in UMG. It doesn't let you. Or if you wanted to have like blend modes, like if you wanted to have an overlay, like you see the scan lines in the background, what I wanted to do was make that its own layer as an overlay and put it on top of everything. But UMG doesn't have blend modes. Like you can't set something to screen or to overlay or to multiply. It just doesn't have it. You can just set the opacity and that's it. But I want the overlay blend mode so that it looks better. So there's a bunch of like things. I don't know if UE5 has maybe fixed this, but UE4 at least doesn't have, it's like very underpowered, and you can't do as many cool things as you could with games like this in UMG. But yeah, it's just a bit, I don't know. It's maybe there's a thing for it, but I haven't figured it out. I haven't seen it. Oh, hey Tim, good to see you, man. Today's going to be a good day. Yes, sir. It will be. Am I using the Common UI plugin? I think I know what that is. I learnt about that recently. and I have installed it, but I haven't used it much. From what I understand, the common UI, it kind of adds more... It's supposed to add more presets to this palette, doesn't it? I think. I don't know if I'm getting that wrong. But it's supposed to have, like... Yeah, because you can see here, Unreal it'll give you some cool stuff. Not to completely trash it. UMG does have some cool stuff. Like, it has a circular throbber. I don't know if I drag and drop that in. You guys have probably seen this widget before in, like, other games. Oh, hold on. Yeah, you've probably seen this before. This is like the default Unreal throbber, where it like, this is what you'd show on a loading screen. So they've got stuff like this, which is pretty cool, but there's like little fine finishing touches stuff that I find that's a bit lacking. So I don't know, maybe the common UI thing has it. What I have heard of common UI having though is it's sort of like it, because there's a thing in my settings menu. This is a bit tangential, but in my settings menu, I want to completely redo this at some point, because you know how in some games, you see how I have these buttons at the bottom that said reset? Sorry, I got to change the font size on that one. But you see how it's got like reset and back, and then when I go to the stage select, it's got back. And then if I go to like you'll know what I'm talking about, right? Like some games will have these options at the bottom, and it'll have like, the thing is with my one is that these are buttons, but in better quality games they have them as inputs, so that you can press, it'll say A back or B whatever, or like X to reset to default. But I don't know how to do that in Unreal, where like the UI itself can capture inputs. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but at the moment I've just got them as buttons, and that's why my menus don't have controller support yet, because what I want it to be like is in the bigger, like more high quality games where it's actually bound to an input. So instead of having to click on the reset button, you can just press X. It'll have the input saying X reset to default and then B back, and it's bound to the actual inputs. And from what I've heard, common UI is supposed to let you do that, I think. But this was a while ago I was looking into it, so I could be wrong. But I think I heard about common UI where they had the Unreal 5 Lara demo or something like that. And I think is that what it's called? I think, I don't know if you guys might, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the first person shooter demo they made for UE5. See, this, I didn't play the demo because you have to install like the engine to be able to play it. Is there going to be oh, here we go. Yeah. So what I do want to do though eventually is dissect their menus, because these do look really cool. That's like the one thing I do like about this, is that the menus are freaking awesome. So, but from what I've heard, the shtick with these menus is that it was built using common UI, and it's supposed to let you do stuff like this. And common UI does work with UE4. So that's kind of that's my lay of the land currently. So everyone that plays this is usually looking at the level and the particle effects or all this stuff. I don't really care about that. For me, it's like I'm looking at the UI stuff and the cool shaders. And the fact that they, like, the buttons glow in the dark. Yeah, like this. You see how they have this settings menu? See, this is a good settings menu. And I don't know how on earth you do this in UMG, but it looks like if the difference between my stuff and this is the common UI plugin, then that's a hint suggesting to me that maybe the common UI plugin is what lets you do stuff like this. But this is good quality stuff. Like, this is cool. This is the stuff that I wish was like just standard in Unreal 4. Because my system, dude, I don't know if you guys remember like Devlog 9, because I made all of this from scratch, and it was such a pain, dude. I hated making this, and it doesn't work half the time anyway. Like, I don't know if you guys played the itch. This is the same settings menu as the itch prototype, and like if you rebind the respawn key, it like breaks. So it's very delicate. But I coded this like 4 years ago, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But it does the bare minimum. It works, but it's definitely not on the same level as this. This is beautiful. I want this. I just don't know how to do it. But what I have looked at though, and I don't know if it's necessary, and I don't know how costly it's going to be, but I have looked into UI middleware and there's one in particular called Neosis, I think. Neosis GUI. I don't know if some of you guys know about this, but this caught my attention because it's basically like a Scaleform, Autodesk Scaleform replacement, from what I can gather. And it comes with its own like UI editor, which looks more like how I would prefer to do it. And this is the same, I think it works cross-platform. So a lot of their demonstrations is going to be mobile game stuff. Don't worry that it's a mobile game UI. It's the fact that you can make all these animations and stuff is what I'm more interested in. But you see here how it's got like it's got all these animations, and it looks really high quality, doesn't it? And that's because the tool that they use for this it's sort of like, from what I've heard, it's sort of like a XAML version of Scaleform kind of thing. That's sort of what I can gather. And you see here how like the alignment tools are just more in depth. You look at the bottom here, and it's got all of these things for width, height, alignment, margin. Like Unreal has some of that, but you can tell that this is like more focused on this sort of thing. You've got like more options for like text and all this stuff. Like just the level of attention, that's the sort of thing that I want with UMG that I feel like I'm not getting. Where it's just simple to like make things aligned and sensible and to style things. Like I'm pretty sure this would let you do drop shadows and Unreal doesn't, and that's the vibe I get anyway. And just the animation, like animating in this looks like it would be easier, but I haven't looked into it beyond just its demo reel, so I could be completely wrong. But this to me looks exciting. I would rather kind of do it this way. And I think this is I think I remember I was looking on their website. This is what the Baldur's Gate 3 people used. I'm pretty sure. If we search up the web, yeah, it's a C++ game UI. Yeah, so Baldur's Gate used this middleware for their interface, and the Baldur's Gate menus are so good, man. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's like a classic. It feels like a classic PC game, and it has the nice shiny buttons. It isn't like corporate, like Facebook. You know, like the Facebook meme where it's got the oversimplified art style where everyone has like blue skin and exaggerated proportions. Their UI is like the opposite of that. It's so awesome. And it looks like there's a few other games this has been used in too. I haven't heard of these other ones, but I've heard of Baldur's Gate. But yeah, so this to me looks like this would be cool. I have no idea how much it costs. That's the only thing in the way, because you know it's definitely not free. Definitely not. So hey, if we get enough TTS donations, I might be able to afford a license for Neosis GUI and make cool animated. I might even be able to do maybe like that circular thing that we were looking at just before with that other game. That I feel like you could do something like that with that kind of plugin. I don't know how you would do that with UMG, but maybe you could do it. It'd just be really a roundabout type way of doing it. You need a hotkey to hide my face cam. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't realize that was so much in the way. I think I might have one. I don't know if it'll mute me, so you guys can... If I press this button, I think that mutes me when I... Or if I press this button. Okay, I think that mutes me as well. I'm gonna have to make one where it hides the camera and doesn't mute me. So yeah. But I'll work on that for next time, though. Thanks for the suggestion. We didn't hear you anything both times? Yeah. There's a pricing tab on the web? Okay, I'm curious now. You've got my curiosity. Pricing. How much does this cost? That's in pounds. I don't know what that is. It costs... If you make under 100,000 pounds, which is definitely me... Man, I wish I did better than that, but... in due time. So it's 195 pounds. That actually might... that is not as expensive as I thought. What's 195 pounds to Australian dollars? That is... 300... Okay. I'm thinking a pound's and Australian dollars similar, but in my currency it's like 300... almost $400. But hey... You know, at least it's... I would rather pay... Because it's one time, it's not a subscription. And that isn't so bad, actually. I would rather pay just once and just use it forever. Because what does it say here? Per project. So you have to pay per project. That's fair. That's okay. As long as it doesn't require I pay 400 a year, then I'm okay. I have a bit I want to go through with subscriptions and software, but I want to get to that in just a moment because there's a few other things with the game levels I want to show you guys next. Oh hey, we got a first time chatter, Oton the Knight. I've seen this game before. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's great, dude. That's awesome that people are recognizing this. That's sick. Thanks so much. The circular thing certainly does feel like it would fit the project. Yeah, I think it would as well. There's something about it. I don't know, because I think there's another game that has a similar... What's the... Osu, I think. Osu has a similar thing with their menus. I don't know if I can find a video. I mean, you guys who've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But all the videos... I'm just trying to search it on... Oh, maybe it's here. Maybe this video has it. They have, yeah, now this is a very old build of Osu. 10 years ago, okay. So Osu doesn't look like this anymore. It looks a bit better. But you see how they have this cool playlist of, it's like a big wheel of like levels you can play. That to me looks cool. And I think what would be really awesome for Feline, again, I don't know if I could actually do this. I'm just ideating out loud here because this is exciting. But if I could have the level select be like this, where you know, instead of just this boring list, god damn, this is boring, right? Like just this boring ass list of just it's ugly. If we had like a cool circular thing with the stages on them, that would be so cool. That would be awesome. But yeah, at the moment though, my UI skills are kind of we're not quite there. We might get there someday though. But for now, I've just sort of got a better aesthetic going on with the menus. Something a bit simpler, lower tech. And the cool thing is that this doesn't need a loading screen. And I think players are going to like that a lot better. They're not going to need to have a loading screen to get ahead to the actual game. And thanks so much, by the way, Miss Waffle Thief, for subscribing with Prime. Thank you so much. Man, guys, you guys are being so awesome today. Thanks so much for the support. Really means a lot. You like the buttons? Thank you. Yeah, I put a lot of... I tried to make them in Illustrator. And I went in to try and get the curved corners and everything. I don't know, because I don't like just having boring square buttons. I like having cool accents on them. But thank you. I think the font choice is something I want to work on a bit, though. I want to see if there's better fonts, but that's what I think the one I'm using now is Venus Rising. Let me just double check my overlay real quick. Okay, my camera is on. Am I planning on making something like a title screen you showed? Yeah, so the idea is, because here's sort of what I'm thinking with this. So what I want is, this is sort of just the current mock-up. What I want first, though, is a cool press start type thing. So that when you boot it up, instead of seeing these options straight away like a browser game, because that's kind of the only thing I don't like about this currently, is that it looks like a browser game. But what I want is the logo to have like an animation to come in like the middle or something. And then I might have a different render of Gabi that slides in and animates in. It's still going to be 2D, I reckon. Or just spitballing, I might maybe try and do something with the model where I've got Gabi standing and then the camera like orbits around her while she's idling. And to show you what I mean, like having a press start sequence and the camera just sort of moves around her like this, and then the logo is sort of just above her, and then over her body it'll say like press start, and it'll be animated with like opacity to go in and out. That's kind of what I would want to do for a start screen, and then it goes into the menu. That's probably the most I would do though. But yeah, sort of having it go around like this, but, you know, having a cooler background than this level, of course. Like having a nice bright background that draws the focus to Gabi. So I might maybe just like a skybox or something, like something simple where it's just your focus is on the model, and then maybe having the logo or something. That's kind of what I would want to do, but I wouldn't want to... I don't want to use any of what was there with the big 3D scene with all the trains in the background and everything. It was just a bit too busy. And there's also, I don't know if I can, I think the map file is still here somewhere. let me dig, because I've had to quarantine off a lot of their stuff still because it's just so messy. But the I think it would be in, because I didn't even know what folder they put it in. I think it's in this folder, main menu geo. To show you, just to go over that a little, I don't want to bring back the complex 3D scene. Firstly, because it needs a loading screen and it's just annoying. Like, I don't think, like, be real, guys. Do any of you want a loading screen for the main menu? I don't think so. Like, I would wager that you would not want that. But as this was, yeah, so here's the actual scene file for that. And the issue I have is that a lot of the actual, because all of the meshes was done procedurally, which sounds really cool and advanced. And everyone tells me all the time I got to do more procedural generation. But it's really messy. I'm going to be real. It's really messy and unorganized. And it means that, yes, it's technically randomized every time when the buildings scroll by. But, like, who cares? Like, I don't think anyone actually cares if the buildings repeat themselves or not. And also the actual code, like, let's open up the blueprint code for these. Yeah, like, it's all been spaghetti coded, and it's just, I want to just throw it all out. I don't want it. It's just, this bowl has not been washed, if you know what I'm saying. You know, this, I want this out. So basically my goal is to just AstroTurf over this with my stuff and make it clean. Like, that menu that I showed you with the sprites didn't need any coding. So when I hit play, the lighting isn't working for some reason, but you see how it, like, scroll, like, it looks technically cool for a while, but when you know the amount of hell that's going on in the code, it makes it unattractive, and it probably won't run that well anyway, because I haven't even tried this on another machine, and I just have a feeling that if one of you with, like, a school laptop or something tried running this menu, I just have a feeling it would not run very well. And I don't want to like that, it'd just be such a letdown, right? Like, I don't want people to be let down by a badly running menu, because this is not built the same way the rest of the game is being built. Like, and you get all this clipping and stuff as well. Like, the more you look at it, there's more problems. Like, look at this. There's, like, this shipping crate clipping into the, like, it's just, yeah, anyway. I don't want to look at this anymore. I'm done. I don't want to look at it. Let's move on to the next topic, okay? That's all I got to say about the menu. But yeah, I do want to do a title screen, but not like this. Not like this. So the next thing I was going to show you was I was going to show you the lab again, because there's a few. I think I showed you this last week. Yeah, that's the contractor's work. That's right. So these are all marketplace models, by the way. So these aren't even, like, custom models. They're just, like, random things. And I mean, yeah, I guess superficially it looks cool, but it's not well crafted. And I am very sensitive to that sort of thing. So I don't want to save my changes to that, no. So anyway, back to this. See, this is a bit more beautiful in terms of how it's made, because there's no things clipping into things. Everything is sensible. I can click on something and know instantly what it is. But I was going to... the next topic I had on my agenda was the lab level, because it looks a little bit different than last week. And that's because I've done a bunch of fixing up with the texture work. So I don't have the footage on hand, but what I did... because the way I built this level initially, because I did it all in Trench Broom, and I'll get this open. I'll show you the original version I did in Trench Broom of this level. So we're gonna shift topics now to this, because this is the next thing I've been cooking up. How do I open recent, open document? I want to open the first version. Is that going to open it in a new window, or is it going to open it here? Oh, thanks so much, Putikani, for the 200 bits. Thanks so much. Oh, by the way, I just want to give an apology to the people that cheered bits last stream, because I did not notice it, because I had no idea what bits were. I didn't know those were a paid thing. So there was someone that left a message that I didn't read, and I felt so guilty about it afterwards. I don't know if I can find it real quick, because I have to do it. They said something about Gabi that was really sweet. Yeah, Gabi is the best. Gabi's the best girl. Thanks so much for that message. So yeah, sorry last week if I didn't realize, I didn't look at the bit notifications. I didn't know what bits are. Okay, I might look young, but in my heart, I'm a boomer, okay? I don't know all this stuff. So, but yeah, I appreciate it though. I see the value in it now, and I appreciate it. Let me get my chat window. I've got a bunch of tabs now open for UI, so let me just close some of those and find my Twitch chat again. So, there you guys are. Let me minimize Unreal so I can see you. Thanks so much. So, as I was saying, so this was the version I showed last week of the lab in Trench Broom, and this is the tool I've been using to build levels now, and this is what Quake Map is used, and it's amazing. Now you'll notice here I'm using these textures by a guy called Macon, and I use these as just placeholders because the way that these textures are done is that they use these things called trim sheets, and that's how you're able to get these cool like details and trims on the walls. This is all texture work. Now, when I went through doing this the first time, I had no idea what trim sheets were or how to use. I had no idea. So the idea was I would use his textures just to get familiar with how to use textures properly. And I built out the entire level in Trench Broom with his textures. And as you can probably see, the textures are good textures, but they don't match Project Feline, right? Like they look like Quake textures, and that's because that's what they're supposed to be. So then what I ended up doing is that I went into Unreal afterwards, and then in Unreal swapped the textures out for something else. However, it was a bit off because the UV and where the textures were is not the same as these textures. So it looked good still, but it didn't have any adjustments to account for bad tiling and stuff. So since then, this is what I started doing last week. I tried to figure out how to actually get my textures into Trench Broom. And it sounds easy, but it's not, okay? This was an adventure. So let me open the new version here. So you see here, I've got different textures loaded in. Now the thing is with Trench Broom that's a bit annoying. I don't know if I can real quick, because I don't know if my face cam is in the way. I don't know if I can figure out a way to move it real quick. There should be, I think if I turn this off, oh, okay, you guys can still hear me, right? Good. So what I was going to show you, yeah, it sounds easy, but it's not. Yeah, that's totally, as a hammer mapper, you resonate. Absolutely, man. So, the way that Trench Broom and Quake maps, and probably I would guess Hammer, I think Hammer has the same system. They use these things called WAD files to store textures. So if I scroll down here, here's the ones I've actually used on this map. So you can see I've got different WADs loaded. I've got the Macon Industrial WAD, and I need to replace these textures eventually. I think I'm just using those for this event. That's literally it. And then I've got Textures Prototype, and that gives me the clip texture and a grid texture. And then I've got this one that I made using these textures I licensed from, I think it was like some website that have like these hand-painted textures. So I bought a texture pack and used them here that I think match the style a bit better. But so these ones at the bottom, so these are the ones I'm talking about. So you've got sci-fi floor. So if I go into the floor here, I can switch these out. These are the ones that I've loaded in. Now here's the tricky. This is because you might look at this and go, "Oh, big deal. He just added textures. I could do that." Here's where it gets tricky, right? So these textures are PNGs normally. I bought them as PNGs. To get them as WAD files and to show it in the editor, you have to do a lot. You have to like convert them to a specific format. You have to make sure the colors are strictly limited, and you have to then package them. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'll show you the software I've been using for this, dude. It's crazy. Oh, thanks so much, Jamie SB, for becoming a supporter. Thanks so much, man. Much appreciated. So let me show you this. Okay, so this is, you might think, oh, well, you just drag and drop the textures. It's easy. No, you gotta go back in time to the 90s to be able to do this stuff. So I'll open the WAD file itself in this software that I had to use. And this software, man, I love it, but I hate it at the same time. Where did I put the WAD? Let me show you. I think I put it in, yeah, here we go. So if I drag and drop the WAD Whoa, what was that noise? What was that? Is that a... Twitch is doing something. What's going on? Hold on, give me a sec. All my windows are glitching out. I can't find Twitch chat. What was that? Let me full screen this. Whoa, thanks Pukatani for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Dude, thanks so much. That's so nice. Hell yeah. Dude, nice job. One moment. For some reason, all of my windows are just... You guys can only see one of my windows, but I have a bunch off to the side that are all not rendering. So that's not what I thought would happen. Give me a sec. I gotta get the command line out for this. Okay. Okay, that should be better. Let me get chat back open. Sorry, technical difficulties. Oh, hold on. So okay. For those that don't know what's going on my desktop, recently I tried being like the Linuxes, and I tried installing a window manager on my desktop, but it's Windows. So it doesn't work half the time, and it glitches out like this. But I think window managers are cool, and I really want to use them, and I'm trying to use it here to broadcast my screen. But this is probably something that would work better on an actual Linux computer. There's some limitations here. That it's some like fan GitHub made thing, so it's a bit glitchy. So anyway, I was gonna show you the WAD file. For some reason, it's put this window all the way. Here we go. Here it is. Okay, this is how you know how old this software is. That the software itself has these little windows in it. Like, that's how you know. Okay, and to give you an idea, so this is Wally. This is what I had to use to create these textures to pack them, and it says copyright 1998, and it's so old that I think it's actually making an ambient noise. The actual about screen. Yeah, what you guys can't hear it, my desktop audio, but when I click this, it makes a bullet shooting sound. Like when I click these links, it makes the Quake gun sound, dude. It's so cool. And yeah, so it's got the gradients. It's dude, like, you know that this software was made with passion. I mean, look at that, man. Look at this beautiful. Anyway, I'm fawning over this. It's so beautiful. Anyway. So to make these textures, so I had to go back and use this 1990s software, okay? And when you open these up, you notice that they look really low res compared to what the originals are probably going to look like. Like if you look at the actual original texture, which I might have, I'll get it up real quick. Yeah, it's a relic from a different time, man. It's from the golden age, man. I don't know, you know how like people say that you like don't know you're in the golden age until it's over? When I look at, now that the 90s have been over for a while, I just know that was the golden age, okay? You can't convince me otherwise. That absolutely was. Who the hell today is gonna make an about screen with that much passion that makes a bullet sound when you click the buttons? No one's doing that today, man. It's just not happening. Where did I... Hold on, I'm just trying to get the original version of the texture open. So here's the... So here's the original version. And it's like hand-painted, it's very pretty, it's very detailed. This is like a 1K texture, I think. Or a 2K texture. Let me check. How big is this? Okay, this is a 1K texture. Now here's the thing, is that it turns out when you make maps in this trench broom style, you kind of don't need 1K textures, and you kind of can't have 1K textures anyway. But to get them to show in the Quake engine and the Trench Broom editor, you have to use a limited color palette. And this is where things get technical. You can't just drag and drop in any random texture, because it physically just won't render it. Because if you look on the side, I don't know if it's visible. You see here, I don't know if, is that, when I zoom in, does that actually zoom in for you guys too? I don't know if it does. But you see here, it's got a bunch of colors. And this isn't just like it's like Illustrator and it lets me do colors. It's like, no, these are all the colors you're allowed. You can't do, like, that's it. You're not allowed to use anything else besides what's in this. That's the limit. So that's where it gets kind of challenging, because most people that make textures today are not like they're not using 200 colors. They're using like 16 million colors. So that's where it gets kind of tricky. So it's like you basically then have to convert these textures. Oh, hold on. Why? Sorry, it's just my window managers being weird. Why did the window it's meant to show the texture on my... Oh. Give me a sec, guys. Give me a moment. All right, we're back. Okay, let me this damn window. Maybe I should just convert to Linux at this point, guys. Maybe I should. Then I can have an actual proper window manager someday. Anyway, so as I was saying, every time I open it, it just... Anyway, so here we go. So what you have to then do is, I had to like export these in a Targa format. I had to do this in a specific... Because PNG doesn't work. You have to do it in like Targa. And then you have to compress it to an 8-bit color range and make it so that it's all only using 256 colors. So I did that. And then there's this other thing that comes up where I think I went through this slightly last week, where I was looking into these things called Fulbright pixels. Now, Fulbright pixels are these things, you see how here it has these lights? So the idea is with old Quake stuff is that Fulbright pixels are like emissive, basically. Now, the tricky thing is that because these textures are not made with this in mind, because of that fact, when you convert them and compress their color range, Quake, the WAD editor, might accidentally read some of them as Fulbright. So you see here, there's this light gray pixel on here. To us, that just might look like something. But if that color happens to be in these bottom row, which I think the bottom 3 rows of this are dedicated to be Fulbright pixels, and if it so happens that when converting it, one of those pixels' colors is corresponding to these bottom 3 rows, it'll render it as a Fulbright pixel, which means you're going to have like a glowing pixel on the texture. And you want that sometimes, like this, but if you have just a wall, you don't want that. You don't want it on all of it. So there's a process you have to go through. There's another plugin you have to then get and run a command line thing through it, where it de-Fulbrights the image and converts the Fulbright pixels into one of the standard colors. So I had to do that, and learning how to do all that and get it to work was kind of it was a process. And then then I was able to finally get it to show in Trench Broom. And you might think, well, Ray, why go through all that trouble and make it visible in Trench Broom when you can just replace the textures in Unreal afterwards anyway? Because you might notice in Unreal, the textures look higher quality in Unreal, right? Because these are not actually the WAD files, these are the originals. And you might think, well, what's the point of doing the WADs in the first place if you're going to just replace them in game? The point is that while I'm building the map in Trench Broom, I want to be able to see actually how the level's going to look roughly. If I substitute it with different textures like I was doing, if I use placeholder textures, you're not really going to get a feel for how the textures are going to tile. You won't be able to see it. And then when you try and substitute them in Unreal later, you're going to have all these weird tiling problems because you aren't actually looking at the texture. So that's why in this version now, it looks slightly different, because now that I've actually been able to correctly tile these in Trench Broom, because I'm actually using the textures and not a substitute for them. So you can see now I've made the wall tiles a bit smaller and more uniform, and I think last week someone pointed out, because you see this warning tape? I had that on the roof last week, I think, because the substitute textures I was using, I was using a completely different texture set and I didn't know. And when I took it to Unreal and swapped them out, it just automatically put the stripes on the roof, which was not intentional. It was just, I was just swapping the textures, and that's what it did. So because I actually have the WAD file now, I'm actually able to manually put those where I want. So now I've got the thing on the floor where I want it. And now I've got the lights on the roof where I want them. And I think before, these were on the wall before, and I didn't want them like that. So now I can actually control what textures are being used where, and then it'll look basically the same, but higher quality in Unreal, which is what I want. So you see here now I've got the trims done properly on the edges of these platforms, so that you've got the caution tape on the edges. So now that's actually all there. And if we keep going through the map, you'll see I've got all the lights on the ceiling now. Like, it looks more sensible in general. And it might seem like a small thing, but, you know, the details do add up. It does end up mattering. If there's something off about it, you tend to notice after long enough. So you see here, visually, it just looks a bit more coherent. Now, this is the exciting bit, because then when it gets to Unreal, you can see here now I've got all the lighting. Hold on, let me turn the lighting on. So yeah, once you do it with the lighting on and stuff, it looks even cooler. And you have like all the... I do need to figure out how to actually make these emissive though, but that'll come later. I'll figure that out in due time. But you see now the tiling is less weird. Things are actually... There is only one problem, and that's this weird glitch with the plugin I'm using, where it doesn't always... like if we go back to this part in Trench Broom, you'll notice that the actual... it's meant to show this darker trim here, but there's this weird bug with Hamua where it doesn't always translate the UVing exactly. So this has actually been offset a bit, and that's a glitch. I haven't worked out how to solve those yet, but I'm sure there's probably a... Oh, sorry. Where did my desktop... I tried to open chat, but now it's minimized everything again. Sorry. I gotta get a better window manager. Okay, there you guys are. Sorry, oh, my YouTube chat's gone. Oh, god damn. There you guys are. Sorry, I lost you for a second. Anyway, so that was a bit of a process to get all that working, but I did get it working. And I'm just trying to figure out how to get my camera back now and fix and unbreak my setup real quick. One moment. Where am I? Is that me? Nope. Oh, sorry. Sorry, one moment. There I am. Oh, no, that's not me. Where's my did I delete it? I think I might have accidentally deleted my face cam. Oh, it's all falling to pieces, guys. The illusion's breaking. I'm not a professional streamer after all. No. Stream where you fix your window manager? Yeah, maybe I'll have to do that. Or maybe I might have to just write my own. I don't know. Because I'm using... It's by some guy... I don't know the guy's name, but it was cool because I don't think I've seen anyone else make one. But it was some guy... He had like a whole YouTube tutorial thing on like how to... Like, I wrote this custom window manager for Windows, and here's how you use it. And I just followed his setup. But I think he's definitely a hobbyist, though. It's not like a... He kind of just did it because it's like, oh, I would like this. This would be cool. And he made it. But because it's not like a, you know, a proprietary company thing, it's just a casual thing, it can get a bit buggy. But I guess with Linux people, they've probably thought way more seriously about their window managers, and I guess they wouldn't have those problems. But I'm not on that level yet, okay? We're not... Maybe someday we do the Linux arc where I switch everything off. And this leads me to my next topic, because that's kind of all I wanted to say about the level stuff, just getting the WADs to work. And it might not seem like a huge leap in quality, because it's only been a week. It might not seem like a huge leap, but this is going to come in handy later when I start making new maps, because now I know the workflow a bit better. I know how to make WADs now, which is going to make, if I want to do different themes of levels, if I want to do like an industrial theme level or an urban theme level, now I kind of know what I'm in for with trying to get my textures to work. So I learnt that this week. And there was one more thing with the levels, and then I'll get to my next topic, because there's one more thing I want to get through. But I did start working on another block out. As well. I just don't know what I named it. I think I didn't know what to name it, so I just named it the date. But I started working on another... Yeah, I think I might have deleted my webcam. Oops. Well, you guys can still hear me at least. That's all that matters. Let me just find the folder for it. Oh, it's in maps. Yeah, here we go. So I started working on this new block out just to play around, because some of you sent me some really cool videos last week with Quake mapping, and it got me thinking, because the one thing I didn't like about the lab is that it is very linear, which is sort of what I want, but it does feel a bit constricted. So I've been trying out, just experimenting, what would happen if I tried maybe something a bit more open and less corridor looking? Because I basically just did it all corridors. So I've tried something here where instead of having it as a corridor, I've got a bit more of an open space. And again, I did this very quickly. No textures yet. just blocking geometry, but just trying out ideas of different, because now that I know how to do blocking and trench, because dude, Trench Broom's blocking tools are so good, man. It's awesome. But now that I have that, so I was just messing around just with this. This is barely finished yet. But because you can make geometry so fast in Trench Broom, I thought, well, what if I just made these big, broad strokes, big, broad rooms instead of just narrow corridors, just to see what would happen. So this is just kind of experimenting and playing around, more or less. There is an issue, though, that I need to work out with Trench Broom, where when it does collision, Gabi can't run on every wall in a Trench Broom exported map for some reason. And I think it has something to do with the complex collision is simple, which Unreal does. Because when you import geometry into Unreal, it has a tough time with collision. So she won't be able to run on every wall yet, but that's something I'll have to work out. Thank you so much, by the way. Fox8. Thanks so much for the 20 SEK. I don't know what currency that is. I think, is that Korean dollars? Oh, dude, thanks so much for the... Merry Christmas to you too, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, so I've been trying to just mess around with the level, like just different types of levels, because I don't want to have it all corridors, because I think it's going to be kind of boring. So this is just messing around. I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. It looks very basic, I know, but you know, just messing around, seeing if I can push the limits of what might make a good level in Project Feline, because there's probably a lot of possibilities. Now that I know how to build them, the limits your imagination kind of thing. Anyway, so there's one more topic I wanted to bring up, the final one of my status report for this week, and that is the devlog, the next devlog. So the here to start the story off. I don't need this open right now. Where's my thing? So you guys might know. Oops. Oh, there I am. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I didn't delete my webcam after all. Anyway, so as you guys might know, I use Adobe to edit all my videos, and I've started working on the devlog for the next devlogs are going to be the character model. And I'll put Gabi on screen while I talk about her. So it's going to be about the character model. That's the next devlog. And some of you guys might have been around when I was streaming the construction of this character, and you'll know that it was a journey. Okay, it was an adventure. So my goal with the video is to tell that story, but to cut it down, to get out the fluff and just get the best bits from it, the key moments, if you will. So I want to have the video go through all the research I did on Arc System Works, all the weird topology, all this stuff. Like there's heaps, because there's so much. So it's going to be a pretty big episode because there's just such a breadth of subject matter to go through. But as I was working on this, I got an email from Adobe saying that they are raising the price for their annual subscription by like 120% or something. So it's now going to cost me an extra like $100 and some a year to keep using all my Adobe software. And that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, because they did this last year as well, and they keep raising their prices. And I've been a loyal customer to Adobe over the years. Adobe software is great, but I kind of don't like being punished for being loyal to Adobe by them charging me more money and like making the software worse. So I've started up because I've been thinking about switching off Adobe for a while now. And I've been, some of my patrons in chat, you'll know what I'm talking about. I've been ranting about Adobe for so long and all this proprietary stuff because it's just expensive. Like to give you an idea, it costs me like, I think it's like $600 a year to use Adobe. And that's kind of like, and if that price is going to keep going up, I don't know if I'll be able to keep doing that. Like it's just expensive. And I'm like, man, could I do this in a way where I'm not getting screwed? Like that's kind of my attitude, right? So I've been learning DaVinci Resolve, and that's kind of what I spent about half of my week trying to work out, is how to convert my devlogs to DaVinci Resolve and learn their workflow. So I'm not that familiar with it at all yet. There are some things about it that look pretty cool, but there are some challenges because, you know, whenever you learn a new software, there's always going to be a bit of a curve, right? I don't think I've actually got any projects open yet. So we'll open up I don't know if the interface is going to glitch. Oh, update available? Yeah, I'm going to skip that. No, thank you. I'm never updating software ever again. So I think this is the DaVinci Resolve. Oh, yeah, now it's maximized it. Hold on. I don't know. It's because of the window manager. It's like messing up. It's supposed to show a timeline, but it's completely messing it up. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I still haven't quite worked out the interface yet, but I was watching some guides on how people edit stuff in DaVinci, and it actually does look pretty cool. It looks a lot more responsive than Premiere, and it feels lighter. And I don't have any. Here's the challenge, though. This is what I'm getting to. The challenge is, as you've seen, there's no media in this project, and that's because the way I manage footage with Adobe is specific to Adobe. And the thing I need to work out before I start editing is how to organize and port footage with the way I do it in Adobe to DaVinci. And I haven't heard of a way of doing that yet. That's the only obstacle. To show you what I mean, I'll open Premiere and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But it's a bit complex. Thanks so much, by the way, a user. That's a very memorable name. Thanks so much for the 6. What's R? Are those rupees? What's R? What's 6R? Sorry, I'm not familiar with international currencies. I'm uncultured. What is it? I don't know. Whatever it is, the 6 of whatever that is. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Good luck trying to run Unreal on Wine. Oh, good point, actually. Yeah, that's the only thing kind of holding me back. Look, so some of my patrons in the Discord chat, we've talked about this for a while. I'm starting to become a bit cynical about Windows. And even just yesterday, I got this big pop-up saying, hey, you need to switch to Windows 11. You need to buy a new computer because my computer isn't compatible with Windows 11. So that annoyed me a bit. It's like for like the last 3 consecutive days, I've just been getting screwed from like software, from proprietary software, where it's like, you know, Adobe is like, hey, we're going to raise our prices and you'll pay it and you'll be happy. And then there's Microsoft coming in the next day saying, you need to stop using your operating system and buy a new computer. And I've just had enough, man. Okay. Raymond's had enough. Raymond's getting upset. And I just want to live in a world where I can use the OS I want, I can use the software I want, and I don't have to update it all the time. And I don't get punished for just being familiar with being comfortable with the software I want to use. That's the world I want to live in, but that's not the world we live in. And I've had enough, man. But yeah, unfortunately, Premiere and Unreal only work on Windows, so I'm kind of stuck. But I'm trying to do what I can to slowly detach. But here's where it gets challenging, and I'm just going to show you here in Premiere. Oh wait, that's not the project file I wanted to open. I wanted to show you the new one. So with the way I think I did do a video, if you're that curious, I did do a video on this a few months ago on how I organize footage. Because this is important stuff. You need to know how to do it if you're going to be making videos. But what I've got here with let me just change my layout to be my custom layout. Give it a second. I don't want this massive learn panel on the side of my screen. There we go. So what I've been doing, here's my custom layout. Very nice. The way I work is I've got my sequences in these folders. So I've got here, this sequence here is called stream. And what I'm trying to do to start making this video, I'm going back through my old stream VODs and clipping them and trying to find bits that I've already filmed from my stream to put in the video. So I've got this whole segment here where I'm talking about Gabi's topology and how bad it is, and all the clip. Like, some of you might have been here for it and you'll remember, but I want to try and interweave parts of the stream into the devlog as part of the story. However, getting this footage, because there's a lot of stream footage, there's hundreds of hours of it. And the way I organize all of that is that I use this workflow that's exclusive to Premiere, this is the Achilles heel of the entire operation. This is why it's so hard to convert, because this workflow called Productions, it basically lets you pool footage. So you see here, this thing I've got open called Feline Devlog 42. That's a project file, but so are all these. So the actual project file itself is in this folder here called devlog 42, but the only thing that's in the project file is just the timelines only. So it's just this thing for all my stream clips. It's just in this timeline. And then I've got like a template for the actual devlog, which I'm going to then fill in with the actual episode later. But it's just the timelines. There's no media, there's no graphics, there's no videos in this project file. It's just timelines. All the actual footage is organized and sorted in a completely different project file called footage and graphics and audio and all this other stuff. So if I was to open audio, all the audio I ever use is in one project file called audio. And then I have voiceover, I've got music, and I've got sound effects. And the advantage of doing it this way is that if you import media into Premiere, you only have to do it once. So if I want footage from this live stream that I've got on screen here from like last year, and if I want to use this in this upcoming episode, and if I want to use it in another episode later, I don't have to import it twice. I only have to do it once. And if I move that footage in File Explorer, I might have to like reconnect the link. I have to like tell Premiere where to find that footage, but I only have to do it once because it's only in one project file in footage. So if I open this up, if I go reveal in project, you'll see what I mean. Or not reveal in Explorer, reveal in projects. Yeah, you see here? That's where it is. That's where this clip lives. And every single episode I ever use this clip in, it's still just going to be in this, it's going to be in one place. And it's just very advantageous. You can reuse footage very easily. It can keep track of footage easily because there's only one copy of it. The opposite of this that you'd normally do without Productions is that you then have to import these media clips for each project file. So for each this is how I used to do it. For each project file, I'd have to find the clip, I have to import it, I have to name it, I have to, all that stuff. And then you'd have like 10 project files that all have the same clip in them. And it's just annoying. It's just so disorganized and it's bloated. So that's why I like the Adobe Premiere Productions workflow, because it basically streamlines a lot of it and you can pull footage and use them across. Because that's the thing, I can use these in it, as long as it's part of the same production, which I've called the Feline Devlog, I can use this in as many sequences as I want, self-contained sequences, and it's beautiful. But I have not heard of any other software having that feature. And that is a very fundamental part of the entire system. That's like the backbone of the whole thing. So maybe there is a way to do that in DaVinci, but I don't know. Like, I haven't seen a way to do it. If anyone does know a way, I'm all ears, because that's the one hurdle I have right now with editing this episode, is knowing the right way to start organizing the footage before I go and make a mess. Michael says in DaVinci you can create permanent smart bins. I'll get a tab open and look that up later. I'll have to look into that, because that's the thing. I don't think DaVinci has an exact version of this, but I have to believe there is a workaround that gives you the benefits of that kind of organizing. So thanks for smart bins. I'll look into that. But that's kind of the main challenge that I've got next, right? And this wasn't part of the plan, okay? I didn't want to have to get stuck on this stuff, because this sort of stuff happens quite a bit, right? Things never go quite according to plan. I didn't think I'd be having to learn a new editing software, but I feel like if I don't do it, I'm going to pay for it in the long term. And by I don't mean that figuratively. I mean, I'm literally going to be paying hundreds of dollars more per year to Adobe if I don't do something about it now. So that's kind of like, that wasn't part of what I wanted to show and be excited about. I wanted to just keep using Premiere, but if Adobe are going to keep raising their prices, I'm just sick of being punished. That's just what I don't like. You've already paid for it? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably have. So more the reason why I kind of have to solve this now and start converting now. I keep wanting to put it off and do it, oh, you know, when I do the next game, I'll switch to different software. But I think if I keep doing that, I'm going to keep paying for it. And I just can't afford it, man. It's just too... I can't afford taking this many hits, okay? So that's why the next devlog might take a bit longer to come out. It's because I'm trying to save money and not give it to Adobe. So I hope that's a good enough reason. I'm trying to use software. I'm trying to reward software that has business practices that I agree with. Because the cool thing about DaVinci is that it does have a paid version. I'm using the free trial right now. It does have a paid version. But it's a one-time thing, which I respect. So if I go to their website, I'm pretty sure, at least. Well, hey, they used it to make the Thor movie, so I guess it's pretty good. But, where do you go to buy it? I think it's like literally it's like one time or something. Well, yeah, see, it doesn't even have a buy. It just says download. So that's how you know it's like, oh, hell yeah. It's so welcoming. It just wants me to use it. But I don't actually know how you even buy this thing. Where do you actually go to buy it? Oh, here we go. So so buy online for two. If we click on this, let's see where it. Oh, okay. I don't want to buy it right now, but it's one time, I think. DaVinci Resolve Studio. Hell yeah. So you don't have to pay every year. So this is actually, in the long term, is going to be cheaper. Because the amount it's actually cheaper than 1 year of Adobe. Isn't that crazy? It's 400 Australian. It's 200 US, I think. But like, I would much rather suffer in the short term and have to learn a new editing software if it means that the most I ever have to pay for it is $400 one time. That's sort of my attitude with it. Preferably, I would like to just keep using Adobe Premiere like CS6, like before it was a subscription. But apparently Adobe sue people for doing that. So that's kind of not an option either, right? So you kind of, you're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place type thing. Thanks so much, by the way, Foxtech, for another 20 sec. Thanks so much, dude. You can programming in DaVinci, you can do more. Really? It has programming. That's really cool. But see, that's sort of like the tough thing, ultimately. I want to keep using Adobe. Adobe software is good. It's just so expensive, man. It's just, I don't feel as a customer that my loyalty is being rewarded by them charging me more money every year. So GIMP 3.0, yeah. Well, that's the thing, because I want to start slowly transitioning, so I'm trying to keep on the lookout for software to replace Photoshop and Illustrator. That's what I'm looking at next. Someone did tell me, I don't know the name of it, but it was a really professional looking image editor. I can't remember the name. Maybe you guys know it. It started with the letter A, but the name is escaping me right now. Affinity, that's right. Yeah. So that's the one I want to... I can't do it all at once, but I want to, at a step at a time, start slowly replacing my software. So it was Affinity. Someone recommended this to me for like a Photoshop replacement, and it looks pretty cool. I've kind of been going off Photoshop anyway, because I used to do all my illustrating in Photoshop for Gabi's renders, but I actually bought a license for Clip Studio, which has actually been really good. However, it doesn't do everything Photoshop does. So to create all my YouTube thumbnails and everything else, I've been sort of doing like a mix of Clip Studio and Photoshop. I could probably, because this is like my last topic I had, so I'll show you sort of what I mean, just as a cool thing to show you at the end. Not this splash screen though. See, that's the thing too, is that the Adobe, I feel like Adobe's brand has become so goofy now. Like, look at these pictures. This doesn't look serious. This doesn't look like professional. This freaking dodo bird looking thing, you know. But you look at you look at this page. This looks like professional, like serious software. Like it doesn't have these goofy color graphics that Adobe's doing now, even just on the splash screens. So I was going to show you, because here's sort of my workflow in Photoshop, at least. Where's my last thumbnail? I think it must be in my thumbnail folder. But yeah, because to do my thumbnails and everything now, I'm doing a combination of Clip Studio and Photoshop. And I'm going to show, because Photoshop's good. I like Photoshop. It's just I hate how expensive it is, dude. I just hate it. But let me show you my... Gotta find my thumbnail folder. Most recent date modified. I think it's this one. Give it a sec to open. That's not the right thumbnail. That's a different thumbnail. Does that prove my point? No. This isn't the one I was looking for. I was gonna show you... I think it was this one. But this was a fun thumbnail to do with the thinking cap guy. Yeah, this is the one I was gonna show. So, with Gabi, you see she's got her render here. So to create that was with a 3D model, and then I touched it up using Clip Studio. And the reason I use Clip Studio is that Clip Studio's pen tools are amazing. So that's how I was able to get this nice line work to look better, and the shadows and everything. So that was sort of touched up in Clip Studio based on the render of the model. But where Clip Studio kind of fails, I think, is when it comes to like image layout and that kind of thing. Because it's meant to be a drawing program. It isn't really... like even just getting guides on the screen. Like you see how I have a grid over the top of the screen here? Like if I turn all these layers off. You see how I've got these grids? I have no idea how to do that in Clip Studio. I have no idea if you can do that in Clip Studio. But with Adobe, the alignment tools I feel are a lot better. And this is important because I use grids a lot now for layout. Of like knowing... Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry, I've got a few layers in here. When I was doing mock-ups for this thumbnail, just as a concept, I thought, I want Gabi to have this kind of facial expression, and I chucked in this drawing of tails as like a mock-up. I didn't know I left that layer in though, that's funny. Let me restore this back. Yeah, there we go. There's a little Easter egg in there. But yeah, so... But with Photoshop, the layout tools are really nice because then I can draw up these grid guides. I can do like drop shadows on the logo and glows, and I can do blending and stuff, which Clip Studio can probably do a bit, but it doesn't have it as much. Like having the fire have a certain blend mode to it and stuff, all of that kind of thing. Like that's all stuff I think Photoshop's really great at, which is why I still want to use it. But it's just... They keep punishing me, man. They keep charging me more money, and they're not like actually... They're adding a bunch of stuff that I don't even want. That's the main thing I have a problem with. I wouldn't mind paying like the same amount every year if they just left it alone, but they keep adding like image generating stuff. Like, and they have all these... I've turned all the pop-ups off, but if you launch it factory settings, it'll constantly be bombarding you with suggestions of like, oh, you could generate a tiger, put this here, and it's like, just go away. I don't want... Just let me work. I get out of my... It's like Clippy. That's what they're doing now. They've basically made Clippy, but higher fidelity, and it's like constantly suggesting stuff to you, and it's annoying. And that's whatever. I don't care. The thing I get annoyed by is when that's what they're spending all this money on. Like they're charging me more money, and they're investing it into Clippy, AI Clippy, and it's like, no, can just stop. I don't want Clippy. I just want to be left alone to edit my images. That's all I want. So, you know, this was made, no AI, no Clippy, no anything. I just want it to stay out of my way. And it looks like, to me, this, what was the name of it? Affinity. I'm hoping that this might be what I want in terms of, it's just an image editor. You pay one off. Yeah, that's what I like to see, man. Look at that. Hold on, let me get a close-up. Where was that? Let me get a close-up of this. Yeah, one off. That's what I want, man. One off. None of this subscription stuff. None of this software as a service stuff. So I don't know. I'll have to... One thing at a time, though. I can't change all my software at once. It'll be a bit too overwhelming. So I'm just starting with the video editing for now. I'm going to try to use DaVinci for the devlog. And if I can get used to that, and if I can then start to replace Photoshop, and I can replace Illustrator... And I can replace, I think Audition is going to be super... I think I can just use Audacity straight up. Once I have those in place, I can finally cancel my Adobe subscription and I'll be free. I'll be a free elf. So that's what I'm working towards, but that's a long-term goal. It's going to take a while because I have to learn all this new software. So yeah, wasn't part of the plan, but I feel like I kind of have to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can record in DaVinci. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, so because there's a whole workflow probably to it that I haven't learned. One thing I do like with DaVinci that I've seen so far is that it seems to have a much better timeline, because it has this thing called the clip timeline, and it automatically fills in gaps, which Adobe doesn't do. And that to me looks really cool. And I want to use that to edit these clips I'm doing of the live stream. But I just have to get used to it first. I'm still learning the software, and I want to learn how to actually organize my footage before I start editing, because I know if I don't do that, it's gonna be tech debt city, and I've had enough of that lately. I don't want more tech debt. I just want to not have it. I want to wash the bowl, right? That's what I want to do. I just want to wash the bowl. So I'm trying to work out how to go and treat DaVinci the right way first before I go gung-ho with it and start editing stuff. But anyway, would you like to add a tiger to your timeline? Oh no. If it starts asking me that, it's over. It's over. They're never getting my money if they start AI suggesting stuff in a video editing software. I think they are starting to do that though to Premiere. They have a bunch of AI stuff in Premiere now, which I'm just ignoring it. I don't. It's, oh man, I just hate it. But anyway, so that's kind of all I have to show this week. I actually kind of went on for a bit longer than I thought. I didn't think I'd have that much. But we had the loading custom WADs in Trench Broom. We had the main menu stuff, trying to redo the main menu, and switching to DaVinci Resolve from Premiere and freeing ourselves of the shackles of Adobe. So that's kind of been the most eventful happenings from this week. And yeah, would you be happy if Adobe offered generate a hug? You know what? No, I wouldn't be happy, because they would still charge me $600 a year. So no, I wouldn't be happy. And then the next year they charge me $700, and then the next year they charge me $800. So no, I don't think any amount of generating hugs would make me okay with that personally. But yeah. Iris doesn't want to touch anything AI. Yeah, me neither, man. I don't. There's a lot I could say about it, but I think you guys probably already know what I'll say. It's just soulless, man. It's just detail. It's just junk. I hate it. I like doing things manually. That's my. I'm old school. I'm a boomer at heart, guys. But yeah, I didn't miss any donos, did I? I don't think so. I think we got them all. Because if not, if I've got everything, I might have to start heading off and get back to work. But Trench Broom, the Quake editor? Yes, that's right. Sorry if I missed that message earlier. It isn't the Quake editor. It's a Quake editor. There's a few different ones. But Trench Broom is sort of the preferred one from what I've seen. Just remember Adobe's AWS speed is upwards of 5. I don't know what that means, but that's a lot. 5 million US is a lot. Spend. I read that as speed. Their spend is $5 million a month? Whoa. Maybe, I just want an image editor. Why does the company running it need to spend that much money? I don't know. I haven't made an image editor myself, so maybe that's the norm. I don't know. But as a customer, I don't like it. Okay. That's all I can tell you. As a customer, I don't like them charging money. And I don't like Windows as well. They're trying to get me to buy, they're trying to gaslight me into buying a new computer, and I don't like it. So I don't know, maybe in 5 years time, maybe I'll finally be free of all of it, but I think it's gonna take some time to switch all of it. But I do feel pretty punished, let's just say, right now. You can edit really fast in DaVinci. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. It looks like it is really fast. It's just the footage. That's the thing I just want to be careful of. I just want to make sure that the footage can stay organized before I start editing fast. Because, like the saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? So if I slowly figure out the right way to manage footage, then I can go fast later. That's sort of what I'm thinking. But yeah, so that's sort of been everything I've got, I think, for the moment. Let me just double check everything. Okay, cool. Next PC is going to end up being Linux. Dude, if Unreal ran on Linux, I'd be on board, man. But I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining in. I'm probably going to wrap it up and get back to work. But I appreciate you stopping by. It was nice getting to chat with you. I've been enjoying these. I don't know, you guys have been enjoying these streams. We got 50 viewers on Twitch, which is pretty cool. That's more than usual. And I don't know how many viewers, 120 viewers on YouTube. So I guess you guys are enjoying them too, which is pretty awesome. So I guess we will keep doing these. I think next week though, I might have to take off because it's going to be like Christmas time and stuff. And I just get a feeling that I'm going to probably have like family stuff I have to do. So I might not be live next week, but the week after, which I think will be the new year by then. So this might be the last time you see me this year. So yeah, I guess I'll be back next year probably. So I guess with that said, I hope you guys have a fun holiday. I hope you guys have a fun time with family and friends. That you don't do anything silly. Stay safe. Buy a Wash Your Bowl shirt, please, and support the channel so I can afford to make a one-off payment to DaVinci Resolve and buy my editing software and get out of the subscription. I'd appreciate that. I've got a link to all my merch and everything in the description if you want to check that out. And yeah, thanks so much, guys. It was good talking to you. I will see you in the new year with the new me and the new us. We'll all see each other next time. So take care, guys.